CVB, City of Kingsport, Eastman, rec leagues, industry leagues, tournaments, all kinds of things happen on those fields on really a weekly basis throughout the early spring through summer and the fall. So we knew we were going to have to replace those simply because we just don't have enough fields in the city to accommodate everything that we want to offer to not only the citizens but also for the tournaments that we bring in town. So we put a group of citizens together. We called it the transition team. They worked on not only trying to identify a site, but also trying to bring together different leagues that were managed by Eastman that would ultimately at the end be managed by our Parks and Rec department. We looked at a handful of sites throughout the city and ultimately decided here at the former General Shale site.
Such a great use for the site, Chris, and all it takes is just a quick glance to recognize just how beautiful this park is. And just as we've come to expect from the city, it's first class, just top-notch stuff here. So can you give us a tour of the complex?
Absolutely. This is, I think, has turned out to be probably one of the prettiest ballparks in Northeast Tennessee. Of course, I'm biased and going to say that, but I think it's okay to say that when you come up here, you're going to see two views that really, for the most part, have been somewhat hidden from the city for probably 100 years almost. One of those views is looking towards Bays Mountain, and so you get a unique perspective of that. But really, I think probably the greatest view is the view of downtown. And so what we have done is we came in, and you really, in order to appreciate this park, you have to realize what we had here before, which was a massive hole. We took 36 acres that really, without a tremendous amount of money brought in to help stabilize this site that we're on, there's really not much more you could have done with it other than build a ballpark, because it has probably the least amount of impact and structurally on the existing grounds. And so we spent about 6 months taking a mountain and pushing it into a hole. And then once we got finished with that, we began the process of putting these fields together. This is a terraced park, and so you park your car at a certain level and you walk down to 3 fields, and then our championship field, as we call it, has terrace seating around them, which is something new for us, and I think it's going to be a big hit. Sitting in a bleacher at a ball game, especially if you're going to be here all day, is not necessarily the greatest thing. So we've set this up to where you can bring your FunFest chair or your lawn chair and sit out here. And so the other unique thing about this ballpark is it's also designed for both baseball and softball, and we've been able to do this in a way with portable fencing that we can also really take you from the youngest age all the way up into an adult league. And so it's very nice features that it has. It also has another unique feature, which is where we are right now. This is in our second-story scoring tower. When you go through and you look at the checklist, and we work with the folks from the CVB as they're recruiting tournaments, this has become a must-have. This is something we don't have in Kingsport, and so to be able to put this in here makes managing tournaments, managing our rec league games so much easier. And so we're pleased with that. Obviously, a full-service concession stand. We have a small conference room downstairs for our tournament hosts and coaches, and then some really just pretty grounds that have been kind of transformed. And probably the most exciting thing about this is we've planned for growth. And one of the things we talk about all the time, recreation sports, especially age group sports, are kind of recession proof. People are going to spend money on their kids, go to tournaments, and do various things. And so we've kind of set ourselves up for expansion here. We have a 5th field that at some point could be converted into a baseball, softball facility, or potentially something else depending on what the need is at that time.
And in Field of Dreams, they say if you build it, they will come. Well, now Kingsport's built it, and we're expecting now even more teams to come to Kingsport. We've already had several, but even more will be coming to use these fields. So talk about that and what that means.
Absolutely, because today, actually, we have our first event here from USSSA Baseball, their World Series. We wouldn't have been able to host all of the teams in Kingsport proper without increased capacity of this new facility. So on any given weekend, we could have an event that anywhere from $500,000 to $1 million is left in our economy.
Well, and that's a great segue just into the next question, because a lot of people will probably look at the fields and think, well, it's great for recreation, but what does it really add? But it is a huge boost for our economy here in Kingsport, right? Absolutely.
And 2 requests that we made was the terraced field, because of some college events that we can attract, and this scoring tower. you just have to have that in the bid process. And for example, the week-long event that we have this week is about a $2 million impact to the community.
Wow.
So very lucrative for us to be able to have this facility, which is second to none.
Right.
Sure. And Chris, it is important that we do have a positive impact on the economy when we do things like this, but there's also just the quality of life enhancement that this type of complex can bring. So what's it mean to you and the community to have this type of field available?
Well, it's huge. As you're recruiting young families to live in your city, they're looking for amenities like this. They're looking at Domtar Park, they're looking at Eastman Park, and now they're going to get to see Brickyard Park. And so it's going to go into that file of great amenities that this city offers. You know, we have come a long ways over the last 10 years when we started with Domtar Park and Eastman Park, moved forward with the Aquatic Center and Brickyard Park, revitalizing J. Fred Johnson Stadium. Everything that we have done, that has an impact on our economy from all ends of that spectrum. But to be able to locate this within a stone's throw of your downtown, there's not many cities that are doing that.
Right.
And so that is something I think we're probably the most excited about. What is that going to yield? We're working on a lot of things that, you know, will be a future chamber zone, I hope, where we're talking about connections to downtown
Sure.
and how this part can be part of downtown. Because I think when you see cities that have revitalized, you know, you look to Chattanooga and you see, you know, the ballpark there, you look at Memphis, you look at Nashville, and there's countless others that we could go on and on about. This has similar appeal, so
Right.
we're very excited.
That's great.
Chris, if we want more information on Brickyard Park, if there are teams or leagues out there, where can they find that?
Best thing to do is contact our Park and Rec department. Andy Sigwald is our athletic coordinator. Kitty Frazier is our Park and Rec director. And so if you're interested in booking the facility for a tournament, or maybe you just have a travel team interested in practice, you can contact them and they will get you on the schedule.
That's great. Well, Chris McCart with the City of Kingsport, Judd Teague with the Kingsport Convention and Visitors Bureau, congratulations. We need to let you go. I think you have a dedication ceremony to get to. Beautiful park here. We're just so thrilled to have it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, congratulations. And when we come back on your CZ, we'll have an update on Kingsport's new young professional organization, Peak. And welcome back to your Kingsport Chamber Zone, on location from Kingsport's newest sports complex, Brickyard Park.
You know, one of the things that we love about Kingsport is that it attracts all sorts of different people who want to come live here. And of course, we try to meet the needs of those various people who want to live here. And one of the great ways that we're able to meet the needs of our young professionals is through a really cool organization called Peak. Here to tell us more about Peak, in case you aren't familiar with it, is Seth Jervis. Seth is currently the president of Peak. He is also chair of your Kingsport Chamber's Moved Kingsport program. And then in his spare time, he works for Century 21 Legacy Realtors as a realtor, as well as a tools and systems trainer. Is that
Yes,
right?
correct.
I mean, you got a lot of things going on here, Seth.
Just a few.
I didn't know he had a real job. I thought he was just volunteering all the time.
Well,
you know?
and that would
Yeah.
be logical to
Yeah.
think, because Peak has grown. I mean, it started out as this little organization. You now have 220 members,
Yeah.
and you keep growing. So tell us about it. Tell us what Peak stands for. Tell us what you guys are all about.
Well, as you touched on, PEAK is an acronym for Professionals Engaged in Advancing Kingsport. And what we are essentially is the region's young professional organization, and we're pretty much geared towards social and professional growth of our regional millennials.
Okay.
And you're just a year and a half old, but you've
Yeah.
already done so much in this community. You've already accomplished a lot, and part of your focus is to get people involved and make a difference in the community. So tell us a little bit about what you all have done, all the great things you've done so far.
We revolve around 5 core components, and one of those components is civic volunteerism. So we want to get out and do our part in the community to date this year, we have put in over 300 hours as an organization, community work.
Yeah.
And also our biggest thing to date from inception, we've started our dog park downtown, which the ribbon cutting for that is going to be July 22nd at 4 o'clock.
Tell everybody the name. It's the best thing.
It's the barking lot.
Great.
Right.
I love that.
That's perfect. Well, Laura mentioned your growing membership, already over 220 now, and people are joining right and left each day. Who can join Peak?
Anybody. If you're between the ages of 21 and 49. Did you see what I did there? Did you see what I did?
Okay.
No.
Well,
between the ages of 21 and 49. You guys are probably...
I just slid in. Laura still has a few years
Laura,
left.
you're still in there. You're still in there. So yeah, 21 and 49, and you just need to be employed. Employed in 21 to 49, and that's it to join the group.
So you have a lot of, you mentioned that one of the core values, of course, is your volunteerism and everything, but you also have some other things that you like to do as a group. It's not just about volunteering. So social events, anytime that I go out, any place in Kingsport, it seems like there's a group of the Peak members hanging out, having a great time. So talk to us about what kind of social events you have coming up.
Well, it's anything from networking to just getting out and having a good time. So this morning, actually, at the Nutty Java, we had a networking event. 7:30 this morning, we had 20 of our members there to network, talk a little about what they do, meet some other people, especially from the outside the area. This evening, we have our Lakes Down Throwdown. We're really wanting to support the local marinas. We know what's going on with the lake. The levels are down, so marine traffic is basically at a halt at this point for the local marinas. So we want to get out and do our part and see what we can do to contribute and kind of ease the pain and suffering that's going on there. So we've got, I think we have 55 RSVPs, and for a social event that's not one of our larger, more formal events, this is going to be one of the best turnouts we've had thus far. So come on out at 6 o'clock to Lakeview Marina and check it out. We're going to have drink specials, band out there, and just talking with one another, having a good time.
Sure. And then, of course, you're also interested in the professional development of your members, and so you offer opportunities for that as well.
Right. Yeah, the event this morning that we had actually is kind of a hybrid. It's to meet one another, increase your sphere here in town for people that are outside of Kingsport or just moving to Kingsport. But then for people who are also in business in Kingsport, it's an opportunity to shake hands, get to know some people, and increase your sphere of influence from the standpoint of business and marketing also.
Cool.
Now, Peak provides a great forum for young professionals, as you've mentioned, to get involved in the community, to meet, socialize, network, get to know other young professionals. But a larger part of your mission is to attract and keep those young professionals here in Kingsport. So tell us a little bit about how you do that and those efforts so far, how it's working.
You've heard me use the term millennials a few times already. Millennials, it's synonymous with young professionals, essentially. And at this point, millennials are the largest and most diverse group within the country. So that has to be the focus, not only as us as an organization, but a focus for the city as well. But this is the largest group of people. It's no longer the baby boomers anymore. That's starting to transition out, and it's now millennials. So that has to be a focus for the city, to attract millennials here to the city, and that's what we're trying to do.
Makes a difference on the economy too.
Absolutely, yeah. We're the people spending money now. We absolutely are.
Well, and again, the organization is just fantastic. It's amazing how much you guys have grown. So if people watching this want more information about Peak, they want to know how to join, they're interested in the upcoming events that you all have scheduled, what's the best way to find that out?
ypkingsport.com, that's going to be our website, and then our Facebook site also. Just log on to Facebook, type in Peak Kingsport Young Professionals, and everything is going to be posted there. You can also download our app. It's Google Play or iOS, so the App Store also.
Of course they have an app.
There's an app for that. And there's an app for Peak. It's true. So we're really relying on push notifications now, because it's real-time updates and everybody's on their phone. So that's really the most effective means of communicating with our organization. So download the app as well. You'll have all the event information there.
Awesome.
Oh, great group, yeah. Seth Jervis with Peak, moved to Kingsport, Century 21 Legacy, and a few other things. Thanks for joining us today. Congratulations on Peak, on all the great things you're doing with that organization.
Thanks so much.
Stay tuned, because when we come back, we're going to have maybe our last segment, I don't know, but certainly our outgoing mayor, Dennis Phillips, is going to have some time on our show to talk to us and reflect back on his time as mayor right after this. And welcome back to this edition of your Kingsport Chamber Zone. We are on location from Brickyard Park.
You know, we're wrapping up our 12th season of your Kingsport Chamber Zone, and it's never been hard to fill a 30-minute episode with all the great news and happenings in Kingsport, because so much is going on in our city. And all those accomplishments are thanks in large part to our next guest. And we're so happy to be joined now by our wonderful outgoing mayor and our dear friend Dennis Phillips. Mayor Phillips, it's good to see you. Thanks for joining us today.
Good to be here.
Yeah,
Kind of sad.
It is sad. We know we'll have him back on the air more because he's not going anywhere, and we'll talk about that in a minute because he'll still be very involved in this community. But Mayor, 10 years as mayor, we're going to talk about your great run as mayor and all that you've done for our city. But first, let's start with one of those accomplishments, and we're here today for the dedication of this beautiful new facility here at Brickyard Park. So give us your thoughts on the opening of Brickyard Park.
Well, this is a twofold thing that we should really be proud of. First of all, this was caused by the fact that Eastman Chemical Company elected to spend $1.6 billion in the city of Kingsport. Thus, they were needing the ball fields that we had used their ball fields for so many years, and sports has become such a large part of Kingsport that we could not do without the fields. So working with Eastman, we were able to get even nicer fields. These fields are wonderful. Yes.
They are wonderful. And it wasn't that long ago that the city and the chamber threw a huge party for you at Meadowview, and had just a great turnout and a lot of wonderful things said. Some pictures shown that some of us had not had a chance to see before, thanks to some of your friends. And it was just a time to reflect back on a lot of wonderful things that happened during your time as mayor. So when you look back on it, what do you think you would say is the best accomplishment, or what makes you the most proud?
Well, what makes me the most proud of all the things that I was able to accomplish was my relationship with the Board of Mayor and Aldermen. Because without that, you do nothing. Academic Village was certainly something that put us on the map, even being recognized by Harvard. The Food City Shopping Complex, you know, if people remember what that looked like before, the Chamber of Commerce is located there. The school's central office is there. We got the church circle land actually donated to the churches to protect their nativity scenes. The Hope 6 deal in Riverview was a grant that there was no way we were going to be possible that we get it. We did. C.G. McCord and I guess were as surprised as anyone when we got that grant. And you just, we built 2 new fire stations. Crown Colony was one that was outside the territory that we were able to accomplish a fire station there. And, you know, we did some annexation. We built the aquatic center. You know, there's just, the list goes on and on and on of what we've done. But I look back, I think one of the most noticeable things is the signage, the green signs coming into the city, at the downtown concerts. All these things feed off each other. And you had a Board of Mayor and Aldermen that was young thinking board. And I think that's very important. And fortunately, we have elected a mayor, John Clark, that I see will continue that tradition and even bring it to another level.
That's great.
Well, Mayor, you mentioned just some of the many accomplishments that were achieved, and we could spend 5 hours talking about all of them thanks to your great leadership. But you mentioned the Kingsport Academic Village, and there are so many more people in Kingsport now that have a college degree and certainly have easier access to one thanks to your leadership and your efforts to build the Kingsport Academic Village. And Laura mentioned the retirement celebration that we had, and at that event, the city has now named the Kingsport Higher Education Center in your honor and in the honor of retired City Manager John Campbell. It's now Phillips Campbell Hall. That is such a great and most deserving honor. So what do you think about that tribute?
I don't think anyone deserves honors that are bestowed on them, but it is very nice to realize that people appreciate. You know, there's been a lot of hours into being mayor, and it's always nice to recognize people, and that's one thing I try to do myself, is give people a pat on the back, thank them for what they're doing. Kingsport's full of volunteers. Without them, we'd be nowhere. And I just, you know, I don't feel like I'm deserving of it, but I could never thank the community enough for doing it.
Well, and again, just a reflection of all of the wonderful things that you've done during your time as mayor. And And we talked about the wonderful growth that Kingsport has experienced. We talked about in previous shows about how Kingsport was sort of recession proof and that we were able to weather a lot of the downtimes that some cities weren't so fortunate to do. So as you look ahead for Kingsport, what do you see?
Well, we've got a couple of challenges. One is we've got to work on our housing market. We need more housing. We've put plans in place and made some incentives that we have about 750 more lots than we had 10 years ago. Now we've got to get houses on those lots and get people to live here. It hurts when people come to Kingsport and work and go back somewhere else to shop. It hurts our schools and it hurts our tax base, certainly. We've got a big contract coming up with AEP on our electricity. That'll be a couple of years, and we've got our 100th anniversary is coming up. So all those things are being worked on.
Mayor, anyone who knows you knows that you're not going anywhere, that you're still going to be very active and still very involved in this community, and we're all very thankful for that. So tell us, what's next for you? What's ahead?
Well, I'm going to take some time off, and I'm still going to volunteer and work. What I have to be careful of, and I don't appear that I know it all. I don't know. There's a lot I don't know, and just because you've been 10 years mayor, you still have a lot to learn. But I'll be available, and we have a real estate that we'll be involved in, and Kingsport is home. I came here in 1967 with probably $200 in my pocket. Kingsport has been very good to me. It's my home. I intend to be buried here, and it's all because of the people. I've been fortunate enough to travel quite a bit, and Bobby and I have never come home, but on the way home we don't say, man, it's good to get back home.
Mayor, do you have any final words or thoughts that you want to share with the viewers, citizens of Kingsport?
Well, I would like to thank everyone for their support during my 10 years as mayor. I'd like to thank you for electing a mayor that can continue the progress that we have started, and just keep being the great people that you are in Kingsport. This is a wonderful, wonderful city, and the Chamber of Commerce, the Downtown Kingsport Association, all these associations, the United Ways, it's marvelous what we do every year, and it's not any one thing. It's like the people all coming together for one common cause, and the common cause is, how do we make Kingsport a better place to live?
Well said.
Of course, and not surprised. So Mayor Dennis Phillips, which last time we get to say that on the show, but you will always be the mayor to us. And we look forward to having you on the show in the future to talk about some of the civic involvement that you have going on.
Well, your show is one of the highlights.
Okay.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor. And there's more of your CZ from Brickyard Park right after this. Well, it's time for the final pitch, the last inning on this edition of your Kingsport Chamber Zone. We want to thank the City of Kingsport, the Parks and Recreation Department, and beautiful Brickyard Park, the team here for hosting us today. What a fabulous facility. Kingsport, you've done it again. And as always, the great team at Spectrum Reach, and our new friend Tony for pinch hitting today and producing and directing our show while Jason's on vacation.
I kept expecting you to work in somehow, hitting it out of the park.
That's right.
Home run, something else like that.
I was hoping you and I would do that, but we haven't yet, so
To find out what's happening in Kingsport, we invite you to always check us out here on the Kingsport Chamber Zone. You can also visit with the Chamber. They'd love to see you. Come down and see them at 400 Clinchfield. You can give them a call at 392-8800. Check out the website, kingsportchamber.org. If you're feeling social, they are as well. You can like them on Facebook. You can follow them on Twitter. Bob, we have a quick shout out that we want to mention. The Symphony of the Mountains Mary B. Martin Music at the Mansion concert is coming up on Saturday, July 26th at Allendale Mansion.
That's right. Tickets are only $15.
It's a bargain.
You can get them at the Symphony office at the Kingsport Renaissance Center or by calling 392-8423 or by going to symphonyofthemountains.org. It's a wonderful outdoor concert, and look forward to seeing you there. And until our next game together, next show together, next fun time together, right? On your Kingsport Chamber Zone, we're Bob and Laura reminding you to please be loyal
And buy local, play ball. Have a great week.